I mean, being from St. Louis, like Bob Gibson and Lou Brock were like the first black ball players that I was really introduced to.
I'm from Atlanta, and Hank Aaron, he was the Brave.
A number of legendary, black ball players passed away recently. Hank Aaron being the latest Hall of Famer, Bob Gibson, Hall of Famer, Lou Brock, Hall of Famer. That's our legacy. In this sport, you have to be great. They were great, and they did it the right way. We look at activism now. We know Hank Aaron's legacy as a player, but he didn't stop there. He was coming off the likes of Jackie Robinson and those that have come before him, and activism. I am more than a player. I am more than a uniform.
I grew up in Tampa, and in the late 60s, early 70s, the Reds had straight in Tampa. But I saw the Reds play. I actually got to meet Joe Morgan, know him personally. Bob Gibson, had many conversations with Bob. Hank was the first guy that I did a car show with in 1984. I came up in 84, but became a fan of baseball like in 69, at that time. And just watching the games to my dad and watching these guys play. And like you said, they did it the right way, on the field and off the field. Those are my guys. And when I was around those guys, man, they don't have to look kid at me, because I remember watching those guys on TV and Gronk and hardened them to these guys. But like you said, those are true legends. And not only as emphasis on the field, but off the field as well. And they will be missed, man, because that's the foundation. And I'm glad, hopefully, they continue to do stuff for them throughout the season, during the summer, for these guys to get the recognition that they deserve.
Growing up in the Bay Area, you had two options. You had Little League or Oakland Babe Ruth. And I played Oakland Babe Ruth. But I would always say to myself, why is Babe Ruth so revered when Hank Aaron is the home run king? And it would never, rest well with me, other than, obviously the legend of Babe Ruth, drinking beers, eating hot dogs, coming up on one leg and hitting the ball out the ballpark. I mean, that's legendary stuff. But I'm like, but Hank didn't do that. He stayed the course, was an activist, played in Milwaukee and then over to Atlanta. And he's the real home run king. So why are we, revering, Babe Ruth so much? So my favorite player was Ricky Henderson, who was chasing Lou Brock. So that legacy was just always being passed down. Who was in front of me? Who do I have to look up to? And what do I have to chase? What is the legacy do I leave next? You had those guys that we knew about. Bob Gibson, legendary. I mean, you let Willie Mays tell it. Bob Gibson, didn't wear glasses on the mound on purpose, but off the field he had on glasses, so that's why he was flipping people up and down. And Willie getting a high-pitched voice. Man, you wear glasses? all the great legendary stories. So for me, it was, knowing that they did it before me, knowing their story and all the things that they went through. How can I make my mark so I don't disrespect them and their legacy? Because it wasn't about me, in the uniform. Yes, I'm black in uniform. I have to make my mark, but I'm making my mark because I'm leaving a legacy. I'm living in their legacy. I'm living in their shadows.
Growing up and hearing the stories from my uncle, who my grandfather, who they said my grandfather actually played against Hank Aaron in before Hank went to the Negro Leagues. I guess he played in
the Barnstorming days
leagues in Alabama, and my grandfather played against him. So my uncle would tell me these stories all the time about, watching my grandfather and playing against Hank Aaron and all this kind of stuff. So watching what he did, and actually being able to get an award named after Hank Aaron it's surreal, because it's kind of like, I feel like I can't even take this because of what this man accomplished. Like, I'm not even on the same level or playing field as Hank Aaron. To have 755 home runs, over 2,200 RBIs, like, that was the bar. Like, and as a power hitter, you're like, as soon as you get to the league, I'm chasing Hank Aaron, bro. I'm trying to eclipse, because that was the bar that was set. Like, stopping and thinking about on my career now, like 382 home runs, man, that's a lot of home runs. 755 home runs, bro. Like, that is insanity. It's insanity to be that consistent, to be able to do what he did over the course of his career. It's what we all strive for. Like, for me, it was kind of like, I just want to do my part to say thank you for paving the way. And that's going to be me going out here every single day, playing the game the right way, preparing myself the right way, and trying to go out here and do things to the best of my ability, because that's what you did. That's what these guys did. And Bob Gibson and Hank Aaron, those guys, Lou Brock. It's the precedent that's set. It's that pride of being a black baseball player, to where now it's like, it's the phenomenon of, there's very few and far between. But to see Kyle, to see Devin, to see some of these other young black ball players in the game today, the future is very, very bright.
Devin, we'll start with you. What is your history of the game generally as we get further and further away from those generations, the less they're talked about? So how did you learn about, the greats in the game in light of the ones that we've lost that have passed recently?
I mean, being from St. Louis, like Bob Gibson and Lou Brock were like the first black ball players that I was really introduced to. I grew up watching the old black and white films of Bob Gibson, striking out 18 or whatever it was in a game, things like that. Lou Brock just, being the game changer that he was in all facets of the game. I mean, those guys really kind of were the first ones to, that I could see in myself, that I'm watching on TV, and I can see the similarities between us, whether you like it or not, you pay attention more to people that look like you. Then that kind of led into growing up. I read Doc's autobiography growing up. He's a pitcher, I'm a pitcher. I identify with him, and that just kind of kept it rolling. Getting into like when I actually started playing, then I was following you two, Ryan being from St. Louis, you played shortstop, which was what I played at the time. I had to have all your cleats. I tried to have the batting gloves you had, man, like all the stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely, it's to me, it's an honor to be like one of those guys that some kid right now is going to be doing the same thing I'm doing right now, hopefully in 15, 20 years.
I'm from Atlanta, and Hank Aaron, he was the Braves. When I grew up, Hank Aaron was the gold standard for everything hit. Being from the South End, looking up to him, and he would always, make efforts to be around, be in the community. And I got the opportunity to meet him one time, and I just remember being chills going through my body, and so it's, different experiences you have, throughout your lifetime, and watching you guys, with the Phillies, you guys' legendary runs and screaming at the TV and whatnot, man, these are things that they set the table. And so I would run around my house, doing, Ryan Howard home run trots, and trying to see, how I was going to celebrate when I cross home plate, things like that. So, hopefully we can just continue to be the next in line in whatever way that may be, and that may not be being the greatest player ever, but, just in the way that we represent ourselves, talk to people, play the game the right way, and wear the uniform the right way. So I definitely just try to pick up on those little things and continue to give my respect whenever I can. But yeah, Hank Aaron was a tough one to see go, because, man, he was the gold standard, really.
Young gems on here. You know what? This game is in some very good hands. I mean, if you two are setting a standard of what it's like to be a black baseball player, this game is in some really good hands. If you guys are the future, I really love the way baseball is going for us black athletes in baseball, for real.